Hey house guests, welcome to today's Big Brother 21 updates and spoilers. Our house guest of the day is Christian Walters. Christian, thank you so much for the support. We could not do this without you and we really appreciate it. So thank you again. And if you guys are watching this and you want to be house guest of the day, check out our Patreon link in the info box below. Alright, so when we left off yesterday, it's looking, a lot like Kat will be using the POV on Jess, and Nicole will most likely be going up on the block next to Cliff, because Nick and Bella want Nicole to go this week. But Christy is leading the charge to keep her and get rid of Cliff. And it seems like the 6 shooters are all pretty much on board. So just a reminder, 6 shooters, that would be Jack, Jackson, Holly, Sis, Christy, and Tommy. So, Christy, Sis, and Tommy were chatting in the RV room. And Christy says that Nicole's most likely going to be staying this week, because that's what she wants. And Tommy says, I don't know. I've been thinking about it. He's worried that it might be too soon to turn against Nick and Bella. Okay, Helen. But he said somebody's going to be coming back from Camp Comeback this week. And that person is basically going to be guaranteed 3 weeks of safety, because they're going to be occupied with taking shots at each other over the next 3 weeks, meaning they want to take out Nick, Sam, and Bella. So that Camp Comebacker is just going to be like chilling. And he says, maybe it could be a good thing. Maybe the returning Camp Comebacker can be a number for us. We'll see. But he definitely seems the most nervous out of all the 6 shooters to turn on Nick and Bella at this point. So Christy's like, yeah, but I have such a hard time living with people who think that they got one over on us. She's not about to do that. So she says they tried to F us first and flip the vote last week, but their plan didn't work. So now they're trying to squirm out of their mess and now bullying, she used the word bullying just for the record, someone else into taking the heat for it. I mean, at this point, everybody pretty much knows that Nicole was telling the truth. I mean, maybe Nick and Bella are, like, lying to themselves. They know, I'm pretty sure, that what Nicole said about them is true, but I think they're under the impression that undeniable, unlikable 9 is still a real thing, and they want to move forward with it. Ooh, you're in for a surprise. So, Christy says she's not going to vote Nicole out. She doesn't care if she's the only one. She doesn't care if it ruins her game. That's really nice and all, but I will say that's really easy to say on a Sunday. You are days away from the vote. Let's see if you'd still be saying that on like a Thursday morning. I don't know. But they all claim that they would be happy to put up Nick and Bella if they were to win the next HOH. Okay. So then, Cliff has a game chat with Sam, and Cliff is like, you know what, the thing that I'm really worried about here, he's afraid that Nicole may have the week 1 whacktivity power. He still doesn't know that Obi has it. Oh my god. So many people know that Obi has it, except for his actual friends like Cliff and Nicole. That's crazy. So he says if she does have that power and it like keeps her from going up as the replacement nominee, I may be screwed. You may be screwed anyway. It's not looking great for Cliff, but he doesn't realize it at this point. Nor do Nick and Bella. Or Sam. So Sam's like, okay, well, in that case, I'd be pushing for Jess to go. He just can't take it anymore. He kept talking over and over again about something that happened when I think he was eating breakfast, and he just wanted, like, peace and quiet. And Jess comes over, sits right next to him, and is like, you really remind me of, like, a child. Like, you have a childlike nature. In a good way. But it's just, like, I think a lot of people are getting tired of her because she just talks and she goes on and on and on and on. So he kept talking about that. So he's not the biggest Jess fan. And Cliff is like, yeah, but Kat's probably going to use the veto on Jess, so you're not going to be able to campaign against Jess. And Sam is like, yeah, you're right. But I don't think Nicole would be imploding like this if she had the power. And Cliff says, maybe. Yeah, we'll see. So he plans on talking to Kat and pleading his case. He's got to at least try and see if she'll use the veto on him. So then Sam gives him some important information. He says, I heard some people talking about Nicole being a sitting duck, so maybe they'll save her for next week and get rid of you this week. Ugh. So Sam says, it is better for my own game to keep you. So like, I'm on your side. And he's like, maybe the two of us can pull in whoever comes back from Camp Comeback and work with Nick and Bella as a 5. So Cliff asks, who's pushing for me to go? Is it Christy, Tommy, Jack, and Sis? And Cliff is like, I promise I will not tell. I would not do that to you, so you can be honest with me. And Sam confirms it's those kind of people. Yeah, it's them. So then Sam says, as long as Nicole doesn't have the power, she is out 100%. Unless I'm being fooled. I think you're being fooled. Cliff also seems to think that he's gonna have Holly and Mickey's votes. He doesn't realize that they are in with Tommy, Chrissy, Jack, and Sis. So he really shouldn't be counting their votes, but he doesn't realize it. Okay, so moving on. Damn, Nick and Sis were all cuddled up together yesterday. Okay, there was a couple times yesterday actually. This particular instance was in the Target bedroom. There were other people in there too. They were having like a big group conversation, but these two were talking amongst themselves. Just for the record, Jack and Bella, neither of them were in the room. So they promised each other that they have each other's backs, and Nick is telling her that he was really confused in the beginning because he liked her and Bella at the same time. Ooh. So he said that he had to have a lot of conversations with Tommy, talk it out, and figure out what to do. So I just want to note here, both of them were being very flirty in this conversation. And Sis is like, oh, we could have been together. You know, why did you pick Bella over me? You can tell me. And he basically says that he already made out with Bella, so it would have looked bad if he then started something with her, and he wasn't gonna do that. And he was like, you know, if the roles were reversed, if I was like hooking up with you first, then I wouldn't leave you for Bella. So like, not a good answer, I feel like. So after all that was over, Holly and Jackson, who were in the room for that conversation, were alone, and they were talking about how messed up it is, like, on both ends, Sis and Nick. So Jackson's like, I don't get how guys do that. What? You are on your second showmance. Are you kidding me? Alright, so Cliff is on the move. He is trying to figure out what's going on here. Should he be worried? Can he get votes to stay? Excuse me. So he's talking to Jess in the boat room, and Cliff is asking, you know, is it too early to ask for your vote? And Jess is like, yeah, I think it's a little early, right? They didn't even have the power veto ceremony yet. She's still on the block right now. So Cliff is like, you know what? I feel like people might want to keep Nicole around this week because they feel like she's easy to take out next week, and they're afraid that I have a power and they're trying to flush it out. So he says, it's looking like maybe the votes would potentially come down to you and Kat. So Jess is like, oh, I hope that's not the case. And then she says that Nicole is all over the place right now and she needs to figure that out. What happened to Jess being all like, I'm never gonna vote out a girl? Because I remember her saying that like a million times, but whatevs. So anyway, it would be interesting to see if she would keep Nicole or vote her out after saying that over and over again. So Cliff is like, you know, obviously you can't tell me which way you're gonna vote at this point, but would you tell me before the eviction if it's gonna go against me? Like, could you just let me know beforehand? Because he wants to go out with class and style. So Jess says, of course, of course. She also says that she wants to do what Nick wants, and she doesn't want to go against the grain. Is she like ever gonna do anything in this game? I know it's only the 3rd week, but like, she's kind of been a flop so far, but she can still turn it around. You never know. All right, so then Cliff talks to Jack in the boat room, and he's asking Jack what's up, you know, what do you think is happening here? And Jack's like, it's all over the place right now. I don't know what's going on. Really? Jack says it really comes down to what Kat does with the veto. You're really gonna act like you don't know what she's gonna do? Come on, man, come on. You're not that good of an actor. So Cliff says, all right, I'll tell you 3 things. Number 1, I truly treat this as a game, not like a personal thing. So if it is my time to go, I'd go out with handshakes and hugs. Aw. Number 2, he says, I do not have the whacktivity power. And Jack is like, oh yeah, I know you don't. I know you don't. So it sounds like he's trying to say, like, I do know who has it. But I don't know if Cliff even picked up on that. So then number 3, he said, I promised you and Sis that you're not my targets. And, you know, if I stick around, I will honor that. I'm not going to go back on it. So Jack is like, oh yeah, I appreciate that. Thank you. And then he says, I don't think your trip is over. So, you know, we'll see what happens here. Come on, man. So Jack is then talking about, remember he made that rule during his HOH week that Kim comebackers are not allowed to talk game with everybody else? He's upset that not everybody's obeying that rule. So he says that he just walked in on people in the HOH room. It was Bella, Sam, and David. He doesn't name names here, but he says, oh, they're trying to build up a side, and the sides are starting to show. And Cliff is just like, well, if I stay, you'll have my support. I'll be on your side. And then Jack starts bringing up the Nicole situation, that whole blow up. And Cliff says, I had no part in that. I kind of got dragged into it, but like, I just want you to know I was not involved in that at all. So he's definitely trying to distance himself from Nicole like he said he would in his Cliff notes. And, you know, the conversation was pretty much over. So after Jack leaves, Cliff does a little mini Cliff notes. He's talking to the camera. He says, well, I'm gone. He did not feel like that conversation with Jack went so great. So he says he's still going to pitch to people. He's going to fight to stay, of course. But he's a realist as well. And it's not looking great at this point. People are giving him wishy-washy answers. And I think he was also saying, like, when he walks into a room, people are just like, you know? So that's never a good sign, right? So then he said, oh, he doesn't feel like Jack and Sis realize he's being honest, and he really would not go after them if they kept him. So I guess he'll probably try to talk to them again at some point. But he says, you know, if it is my time to go, I'm still going to be friends with everyone as long as they don't attack me on a personal level. So then he gave a shout out to the live feeders. What up? And this is not anything, by the way. So he said, I may soon be right there with you. Aww. And he said it's going to be really tough to watch some of these episodes and find out what he missed. I don't think you're going to find it in the episodes. Honestly, like, you know how much the show leaves out. So, I mean, he'll find the basic stuff, but if you really want to know what's going on, you better read those live feed recaps. Alright. So then, moving on. Annalise was discussing her game with Holly, and she's like, I am so confused. She feels like it is best for her game and the 6 shooters games to vote out Cliff this week. But I mean, once they vote out Cliff, they're going to be turning on Nick and Bella. And she's like, I don't like Bella. F Bella. But I love Nick. And I really think he has my back. So Holly's like, really? I don't think he does. She reminds Sis, like when Nicole and Kat were telling them that Nick and Bella wanted to put them up last week, they both said that Nick was the one saying that, not Bella. So, you know, what's going on here? It doesn't seem like he's got your back if he's throwing your name out. So Sis says, oh, I'm so torn. Nick looks me like directly in the eyes and when he says that he's got me, and I want to believe him. So then Kat comes in, and after she leaves, there's a little interlude about Kat. They talk about how she plays things up for the cameras, blah, 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 blah. Holly's also pissed that Kat told her that she dragged Jackson through the mud in her diary rooms. And she should have. He was a total dick to her. Come on. So then back to Nick. I mean, should Kat have told Holly about that? Maybe not, but still. So back to Nick. They're talking about him. And Sis is like, you know what? Maybe Nick is just trying to go like hardcore grateful because he just got caught. last week trying to flip the vote. So maybe he's just like messing with us and trying to act like he's with us, but he's not really. And Holly's like, yeah, that's definitely a possibility. So then Sis says, is it bad that I feel Nick is more my ride or die than Jack? I'd feel pretty shitty if I was Holly sitting there. I assumed that Holly was like her ride or die, right? But she says, Christy and Jack are a ride or die. And Holly's like, yeah, well, Nick, I feel like he would F you over without even feeling bad about it. I mean, I think he'd probably feel a little bit bad about it, but he would still do it. So Sis says, yeah, but Jack would do that too. And I don't think Jack would feel bad about it. And she says that Jack would pick Christy over her if it came down to it. Yup. So she doesn't feel like Nick would do that to her. But then Holly says, I feel like Jack is really starting to like you more and more. You know, I saw the other day he was staring at you. Just because you're staring at somebody and you want to freaking do them doesn't mean that you're into them for real. So Sis says, I don't feel that. I don't feel any connection with Jack. She feels like she's really herself when she's around Nick, and around Jack, she feels like a blank wall. Ooh, that's not good. Okay, so moving on. The 6 shooters were talking about the vote. They plan on the vote being a blindside this week. They're not even going to tell Sam, because obviously Sam is really close to Nick and Bella, and they want them to be shook. And also, they're like, we don't need Sam. We'll have the votes without him, you hope. So Sam is going to know that he's effed the second that those votes are read, and then they're like, he can pick a side at that point. Is he going to stay with them, or is he going to come over to us? So Christy says this is karma for them trying to flip the vote last week. Whatevs. And Jack is telling them about his conversation with Cliff. He says that Cliff was trying to separate himself from Nicole, and they all agree that he's trying to migrate to Bella and Nick now. They're really convinced that Nick and Bella are like trying to form up this army. But the sad thing is that Nick is always talking about now how he wants to stick with this group, like until they get down to 9 or maybe 10, but it's crazy. So then Jack also shares how he busted into the HOH room earlier and found Bella and Sam talking to David, and he's assuming it was game talk. So Christy again is like, they're trying to build an army for when Nicole goes, and Jack says, the one rule I made was to not talk game to anybody in the house, and I just caught you. Oh my god. So obviously he's talking about talking game with the Cam Comebackers. But why should anyone listen to your made-up bullshit rule? And you're not even the HOH this week. So why would anybody care what you have to say about who they should be talking game with? Come on. So Tommy's like, all right, well, we got to make sure that Nick and Bella and Sam and all them don't catch on to us too early, because then that can blow up the whole plan. So we have to make them believe that we're not onto them wanting to turn on us. You know what I mean? All right, so then Cliff checks in with Kat because she is the veto holder this week, and he's like, you know, what are you thinking? What's going on? So Kat says she feels like Jess is in more danger than Cliff this week, because last week everybody was saying that Jess should be the next one to go after Kemi. Yeah, last week, it almost seems like Kat and Jess are on like a 1-week delay game-wise, because things change every hour, you know? But she's still like, oh yeah, Jess is in trouble. I'm sure she was just saying that too because she wants to take Jess down and she doesn't want to hurt Cliff's feelings, but Cliff is like, I don't know, I think they want to take me out because they think that I have the power and they want to flush that, and they also want to split up me and Nicole, and they probably see Nicole as like a sitting duck that they would, you know, be able to get rid of next week. So Cliff is like, no hard feelings if you do end up using the power veto on Jess. I know you guys are close. But if I am up on the block next to Nicole, would I have your vote? Can I count on your vote? And Kat says, yeah, of course. Of course. I'll even talk to Jess about it for you. Don't worry. All right. I don't know if she's serious there, but we'll find out, I guess. So Nick and Kemi, they hash things out. And, you know, there's been a lot of tension between them ever since the infamous eviction speech. So Nick has Tommy sit in during this discussion. So unnecessary. Somebody, I can't remember who it was on Twitter. I retweeted it, so if you look at my feed, you can see it there. But somebody tweeted the funniest thing about this, about how Tommy's always chaperoning. They said something along the lines of, is Tommy gonna mediate Nick's chat with Julie next week when he's evicted? I thought that was hilarious. So anyway, Kemi says, I really felt like I left my eviction speech at game, and then you and Bella went and made it personal. And she didn't appreciate that. She said that Nick and Bella went to a bunch of people, and they said that they were the only ones there for her when she was crying, and she was crying about personal things, so like, why even bring that in? And when she's upset, she likes to be alone. So, you know, what's going on here? They were kind of like inserting themselves in the situation, so she didn't want that anyway. But Nick says that he was upset because it was on live TV and he couldn't respond. He says that he would have preferred for her to have like a house meeting during not the live show so that he could say his piece. Maybe like when Nicole wanted to be in the HOH room and defend herself, but you wouldn't let her? Yeah. Okay. So anyway, he says, you're not wrong. You know, I messed up. I shouldn't have brought personal stuff into it. He does apologize. He says it was a good game move by her too. And he took it personally. So Nick also admits that Kemi did not lie in her speech. He said, I did kind of play you. Thank you. At least he'll admit to it now. I feel like Bella is still in denial, but at least he'll admit that he effed up. So they exchange respect. It's all, I respect you, I respect you. And then Tommy tells them, all right, good job, you guys, well done. Okay, so then after they leave, Kemi is alone. She's talking to the cameras and she says, I'm ready to go home. I've had enough of this house. No, I would love to see, okay, so right now, it's a toss-up for me if I would want to see David or Kemi come back. I mean, again, it's nothing against Obi, but I feel like Kemi or David would do more. I don't know. But then I hear this conversation from Obi, because he was also talking in the cameras a few minutes later. He was in the storage room, and first he's saying, like, I feel like I might have gotten Cliff in some trouble by talking game with him the last few weeks. Ugh. He also isn't sure what to do at this point. You know, he has this power, he hasn't told Cliff about it yet, and he's like, I want to tell him, but then Cliff might use that to save his game, because he could be like, oh, if Obi comes back, I'm close to Obi, so you'll like be able to use Obi's power, you know what I mean? And you know, then if Obi makes it back in, everybody's gonna know that he has this power. A lot of people already know you have the power, so I wouldn't worry about that. But he says if he does make it back into the game, he would target Jack, Tommy, and Christy. Damn! Very nice. Good choices there. So that's pretty exciting if he does make it back in, right? We got something to look forward to there. Okay, so then Kat and Jess are talking in the boat room. And they were saying that they feel like all of the big players are going to go after each other next and not pick them off like one by one, all the outsiders. Wake up! Like, yeah, they might have a few weeks where the 6 shooters are going after like Nick, Bella, and Sam, but after that, I think they're gonna try to take you out. I don't know. So yeah. So then on the other cameras, it was just funny because Holly was talking about Kat at the time and saying she doesn't really understand the game and I can't give her too much info. It was just like a funny juxtaposition there. So back to Jess and Kat. Jess says that, you know, she really likes Jackson, but he's been acting weird lately. They agree. They can't really trust him. At least they got something right, right? So Kat was saying she doesn't really get why Jackson feels like Holly is more beneficial to his game than she would have been. There's definitely still some bitterness there, which is to be expected, right? I mean, that was pretty effed. So Kat says that she would like to see David come back into the game, and Kat is like a flirtmance, I would say, with David at this point, so that's pretty interesting. She wants him to come back in and take out Jackson. Woo! How sick would that be? That would be amazing. So she then tells Jess how Jackson said something about David a while ago that made headlines in the real world, and she knows this because he told her. Right? And that was the day that he was crying, so she told Jess about that. Jess didn't even realize. Jess never knows what's going on in this house. It's crazy. So then Kat is telling Jess, you are my final two, not Jackson. Like, Jackson may think that he's my final two, but he's not. She says if he thinks I'm a number for him, he won't get rid of me. I mean, she makes a good point. I'm glad that she realizes this. I think she's a lot smarter than people give her credit for, and I think she does play up the ditziness a lot. You know, she does get a bunch of stuff wrong, but I'm glad she at least sees that, right? She's trying to work that Jackson and Holly angle. So anyway, Bella and Tommy were up in the HOH room. Oh my god, I forgot about this. So she's got her eyes glued to the spy screen where she sees Nick cuddled up with Sis again. So this time, Nick's head is in Sis's lap. It is like straight up face to crotch. Well, I guess like side of the head to crotch. There's not even a pillow there as a barrier. So Bella says she's holding hands with Tommy because she's like so upset. She's telling Tommy how Nick will turn on the spy screen in the morning and watch everything Sis does. And he's like making comments about her. So she doesn't want to look stupid on TV and on the internet and feel like she's just being dragged along. So Tommy's like, you know what? I would be upset too. And you know what? I would be upset too. Like, that's really effed. So Bella says, I've already discussed this with Nick before, so I'm just gonna sleep in the RV room and I think he'll get the message. Dramatic much? Okay, so Tommy says, I think you should talk about it with Nick. Is Tommy gonna mediate / chaperone this conversation too? I mean, really. So then Sam joins them and Bella is like, oh, we're just watching the new Showmance. So Sam is also like, can you just talk to him? And Bella just keeps saying that she's already discussed this with him before, so, you know, what's the point of her addressing it with him again? So then Bella's saying, I have a really sticky situation back home, and she says all of her stuff is at this guy's house who thinks that they're together. Thinks that they're together? Ooh, I mean, we heard bits and pieces of this, like, the first week of feeds. And I remember at the time I was like, oh, we don't know what her situation is, blah, blah, blah. And I mean, we still don't know what her full situation is back home or back at that guy's home. But I just have to say, like, it sounds really messy, and it's not really a surprise after watching Bella for a few weeks on the feeds. Okay, so anyway, Bella says that she doesn't want to do the whole Nick thing anymore. Ouch. She's ranting. They keep telling her, you just need to talk to him. He's always talking about how great you are. He's obsessed with you. He loves you. Not love yet. But you know. So then Bella starts to cry. Oh my god. Ah! I don't like laughing at people when they're down, but like, after all of the crap from Bella this week, it was kind of like, so yeah, she says, I feel like every time I trust someone, I feel so stupid for it. And it just reminded me of Below Deck Med when Hannah was talking to Captain Sandy and she was like, Sandy, when I fall in love with men, they go away. I will never forget that scene. Anyway, do you guys watch Below Deck Med? So good. Okay, so she says, I'm tired of, you know, trusting people and then it bites me in the ass. What do you think happens when people trust you? Oh! So she says that she wants to play her own game, not Nick and Bella's game, if this is gonna keep happening. So she's okay with playing Nick and Bella's game if he's like all over her all the time and there's no like issue there, right? That's pretty lame. So Tommy says, okay, well, do you just want to break it off? Like, I can go get him. Oh my god. So a little later, Bella does end up confronting Nick in the HOH room, and she says, you're making me look really stupid. You made the first move, and I agreed to be in a showmance, even with my, you know, situation back home, and you know I have trust issues, and now you're moving backwards. You're constantly flirting and cuddling with Sis, and making comments in front of me, and it makes me upset. And Nick says, what? I haven't been doing that since we talked about it last time. And Bella's like, I just watched you cuddling with her for 30 minutes. Oh, busted. So he says, what? My head was on her. That's not cuddling. We were talking about you and how much I like you. So eventually Bella starts crying again. And she's all like, it's fine. Like, if you don't want to, that's okay. And he's like, I do want to, like, have a showmance. So he said he really likes her. He wants to be with her. And he says, you know, he'll stop doing what he's doing with Sis because it was really messed up of him when he knows her circumstances, and he's sorry. This conversation goes on way too long. I'm just gonna like right there. So they patch things up for now, and then there's a little bit of game talk. So Nick tells her about the chat that he had with Kemi when they were clearing the air, and Bella still seems to think that Kemi played her. So Nick is telling her Kemi wasn't wrong with what she said in her eviction speech. We effed her over. And Bella says, no, I didn't. We didn't F her over. Come on, oh my god. So anyway, meanwhile, while that was all happening, Christy rescued a lizard in the backyard. That's nice. But then Big Brother had her bring it to the storage room. Let's hope it doesn't end up in the next competition. Am I right? Alright, so then Nick talks to Sis, and he's like, Bella asked me to stop laying around with people, so I need to respect that. Can't flirt with you anymore. Sorry, like, we're still friends. I still love you, though. Yeah, that's it. So then Sis goes and complains to Holly and Jackson, and she's like, why is Bella so jealous? Oh my god, I dare that bitch to come at me. What are you gonna do? I mean, really. So Jackson is telling her, and really, if she actually had feelings for Jack and somebody was all over Jack the way that she's all over Nick, you're gonna tell me that she wouldn't be upset? Come on. So Jackson is telling her, you need to be careful because Nick and Bella are basically co-HOHs this week. So if you get Bella upset enough, I'm sure she could convince Nick to put you up, like to prove his love for her. So you need to keep your distance from both of them. So then Sis goes and talks to Bella. So Holly and Jackson are talking about how dumb Sis is, and Holly says she loves Sis, but she's naive, she's immature, and she has a shitty attitude. She is always complaining and saying how much she hates everything in there. She really does seem angry about 90% of the day. It's crazy. So Jackson says, yeah, she only smiles when someone compliments her. So then Holly says, this is interesting. Holly says this is the first day that she's seen Sis wash a dish, and no one ever seems to be bothered by her not helping out. But they're bothered when Kemi doesn't. I wonder why. Okay, so then Holly says, oh, Sis probably gets away with that all the time in the real world because she's pretty. Oh my god. Okay, so then Sis and Bella chat, and it was really quick. Sis was just like, oh, Nick and I are just friends. Like, I don't want you to get mad about something like that, blah, blah, blah. And Bella's like, no, what? I don't know what you're talking about. It's okay. Like, no, I would never get mad at you for that. You okay? So it was very fake. All right. So then, this is weird. Last night, there was some sort of big blow up between Jackson and Kat. But it happened while the feeds were down. They turned the feeds off. What the frig? So what I've gathered from different conversations about it, apparently, well, Kat was telling Jess about it, so we got some of the story here. Apparently Jackson was yelling. Jack described it later as screaming at Kat about her running her mouth and ruining his game. and I guess he was mad because, like, she always makes those jokes about the 3-mans and stuff, and Holly is upset and, you know, worried about how she's gonna be perceived by America for, like, stealing somebody's guy or something. I don't know. I mean, you're with a douchebag, and he's a leftover. Okay, so anyway, Kat said the whole thing was really embarrassing and he was really aggressive, and she reveals that he told her in the past that he has an arrest record for domestic violence. So when he was getting all aggressive with her, she was nervous that he could potentially get physical with her. So she was really scared. I don't know if he got like a talking to in the diary room or something, because people were like buzzing about, you know, how Big Brother would be giving out penalty nominations, but like every time it was mentioned, they got in trouble. So I don't know what exactly happened there. But Jess is telling her, you should probably stay clear of Jackson because you don't want to become one of his targets here. I have a question. Why does Big Brother keep protecting this clown? I mean, really, you're gonna turn off the feeds like that and, you know, not let us see the douche canoe that he is? I mean, we already know, we've seen enough of it, but it's really messed up. I don't get why he's like the golden child here. So anyway, today, Jackson talks to Kat and he's like, you know, it's not a bad thing if people don't think we're close. And he's telling her, you're a great person, I love you to death, sorry for snapping at you. He's such a loser and he's so full of shit because he's always talking crap about Kat. Last night, he was calling her, I mean, he was saying that she does anything to try and get camera time, and she's walking around with no bra and no underwear on, and he's disgusted by it. Really, dude? Really? Okay. So anyway, moving on. This is some good game stuff here, you guys. Christy, out of like nowhere today, is paranoid that Nick is gonna put up one of the 6 shooters, specifically her. So she's got some interesting reasons here for thinking this. She's like, Nick asked me 5 times how I slept. That was so weird. And Cliff has been talking to Nick and Bella a lot. Bella's being a bitch this morning. So there was also this incident. Okay, so funny thing here. Kat, you know how she's been wearing the veto medallion like basically since she won it? Today she decided that she was gonna tan with it on her stomach so that it left like tan lines that looked like a veto. So that's pretty funny. But other people were like, okay, we're gonna cut out little symbols from cardboard. So Holly was cutting out a heart, and Nick asked her to cut out a red flame for him because apparently that's like Christy and his thing or whatever. So then he was like, yeah, cut me out a red flame so I can burn it. And then he turns to Christy and he's like, you would never turn on me, right? So that really freaked her out too. And she starts going around to people and she's like, I think I'm going up. And that turned into, I am definitely going up on the block. I mean, she is losing it. She says that she reads energy, and if Nick thinks he's gonna blindside me, he's not. So she is 100% convinced and crying, like screech crying, that she's going up on the block. She's like, they're all in on it. They have it all planned out. They're gonna try and pull in Nicole and whoever comes back from Camp Comeback and blah, 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 blah. So everyone's telling her, you're not going up. And even if you did, you would have the votes to stay. So don't worry, you're panicking right now. So then Tommy lets Nick know that Christy's freaking out, and Nick and Bella are talking to her, and Nick's just like, Christy, are you serious? Like, what's going on here? So Christy tells him all these comments that freaked her out. She also blames her hormones. She says she's PMSing. If you didn't already know that. I mean, she must have dropped that she's PMSing like at least 500 times in the last few days. She has made it known. So Nick is telling her, stop, Christy, because she keeps going like, blah, 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 and he's like, stop, I'm not putting you up. I would never put you up. He said he's sticking to the plan. He's putting Nicole up. So then they have the power veto ceremony, and as expected, Kat uses the veto on Jess, and Nick sticks to his plan and puts up Nicole. So that means it's Nicole and Cliff up on the block, and we've got 3 days until the eviction. But we're not done yet. one more thing. Christy is talking to Nick and Bella after the power veto ceremony, and she's like, oh, I'm so sorry that I doubted you, blah, blah, blah. I just, you know, the PMS, I was panicking, I was paranoid. And then she decides to tell them that she has the panic activity power. She tells them what it does. What the F are you doing? What are you doing? Why are you telling Nick and Bella that you have this? The panic power does not mean that you panic and do stupid things. Come on. So she's telling them that it's good until there's 6 people left. Is that a lie? Like, I don't think that's right, is it? Because it's 3 more POV ceremonies. I feel like that, I don't feel like doing the math right now, but I don't think that would be 10 people left, would it? I don't know. Maybe, or sorry, I don't think that would be 6 people left. No, no way. Not 6 people left. No. So anyway, yeah, she tells them about it. Again, I don't know if she was trying to like fool them with that incorrect detail or if she just like doesn't get it. I don't know. But she also tells them that Ovi has the first power, and she's like, I don't know exactly what it does, but she says that Jack and Jackson do. So she's definitely trying to, you know, subtly throw Jack and Jackson under the bus here. Woo! Why would you tell Bella anything? You've seen what happens when she gets information. So I want to know from you guys, how long do you think it'll be before Bella spills this information to other people? We'll see. I cannot believe that Christy did that. It's insane to me. What are you thinking? Ah! Alright, so I'll see you guys tomorrow. Let me know what you think in the comments, and until tomorrow, much love.